At the EU summit on Ukraine in Brussels, it was emphasized the intention to contribute to security guarantees for Ukraine when the conflict ends. The question arose, what about the contingents? Nothing. No decision has been made, and there's little desire among the EU countries to send their contingents, even as part of some peacekeeping forces. What was unexpected, and from whom it was unexpected, was Belgium's Prime Minister Bart De Wever. He is new to this company, belonging to the party New Flemish Alliance, which is moderately right-wing, previously considered far-right, but moderate as there are even more extreme parties. Bart De Wever took a rather tough stance, which the summit participants learned about only after gathering. Bart De Wever said, "If everything collapses, who will pay?" A reasonable question. He suggested sharing risks so that all EU countries present bare responsibility. Regarding the 19th sanctions package, you noticed it was dragged out for quite a while. They didn't know what to include or exclude, when and why to approve it. Essentially, the goal is to end dependence on Russian gas, including liquefied gas. For short-term contracts, they aim to bring them to zero by the end of the current year, and long-term by the end of the next year. Considering that Hungary, if I remember correctly, has a long-term contract with Gazprom until 2034, and others too. This seems daunting for them. Still, it is yet another element of internal discord that will inevitably grow. Russia never had and does not have any shadow fleet. This refers to tankers sailing under various flags. There are countries with so-called convenient flags like Belize, the Marshall Islands, and such exotic places. Why the EU claims they are all rusty, unreliable, and dangerous to operate is their business. It's nonsense. The respective shipowners benefited and continue to benefit from contracts for shipping Russian oil, naturally not to Europe, but to third countries, primarily India and China. But now they are being pressured. Through what means? Via insurance restrictions. Which is why we, with our partner and friendly countries, are developing alternative insurance options for these tankers. A summit was held under the slogan, "Support Ukraine." Given that the idea, inspired by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, failed regarding a repatriation loan, they are forced to develop Plan B and Plan C. Plan B is a collective debt, meaning borrowing by increasing the national debt of member countries. But the national debt of member countries is already massive, and some can barely make ends meet. So it was not enthusiastically received and likely won't be. Plan C implies giving up on Ukraine, but currently, aside from Hungary and Slovakia, others do not share this sensible approach. By the way, the children's issue is a separate topic, and some zealous opponents like to recall it. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, for instance, suggested that if Russian President Vladimir Putin flies to Budapest, he should be detained and handed over for trial, implying the International Criminal Court. But that's nonsense. We never recognized the International Criminal Court, nor did the United States, China, and a large group of countries. The Americans even went further and blacklisted the ICC prosecutor Karim Ahmad Khan. Currently, various projects for saving Ukraine as anti-Russia have come to the forefront. Essentially, even in a reduced territorial form. That's the aim. French President Emmanuel Macron spoke on how he envisions the settlement, advocating for an immediate ceasefire along the current contact lines, while maintaining the freedom to supply weapons to the Ukrainian side. But who needs that? Ukraine, of course, but not us. As for Rosneft Deutschland, the sanctions by U.S. President Donald Trump did not affect it because EU sanctions hit earlier. As they say in certain circles, Rosneft Deutschland was seized by the German authorities and is under their management. Only the name remains. But there's no Rosneft there anymore. That's the first point. Regarding other subsidiaries and countries where Rosneft operates, the situation is more straightforward. With Lukoil, it's not so clear-cut because Lukoil, unlike Rosneft, is a private, non-state company. In Belgium, where I worked for many years, there are 200 Lukoil gas stations which remain operational and won't go anywhere. There are also several oil refineries in various countries. I know there's a major oil production plant in the Netherlands and major enterprises in Bulgaria and Romania, where fires recently occurred one after the other. If that's a coincidence, then show it. Otherwise, it's terrorism.